to hit rep. And I will give it to you, my friend.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today?
Morning.
Good, good. Yeah, energy. Okay, good. So this is something I'm very passionate about. We built a pretty big business on calling expired and for sale by owners. We'll do this year about 400 total transactions, 100 of them being expired and for sale by owner. So literally, this was our whole foundation many years ago, when we had no money for leads. And I believe in this skill regardless of any changes that occur and how we talk to people or calling. I still just love this. We've had agents go from 2, 3 deals to 25 to 30 just from making phone calls. So real estate's still a human connection piece. So with that being said, give me 1 second. I'm going to share a couple foundational items with you guys. So let me pull, let's see, let me just switch over real quick. Sorry, give me 1 second. Where are we? Okay, cool. So let me go back to, all right. Can everyone see the screen? Yeah.
Not yet. Hang on.
Now? Good.
Hang on. Let me see. Oh, there it goes.
Okay, cool.
You zoom in,
So
make
yeah,
the zoom bigger.
actually, give me 1 second. How do I do this? Sorry, this is in a Google Doc and I'm trying to fit. Oh, here we go. All right. Mainly for this doc, it's just these top four things. So many people fail on this type of calling because of not having the foundation. So this is, please take some notes. I'm going to give you about 5 years of training here in about 30 minutes. So I was fortunate to be trained by Jake Kinder, Tina Call, Jackie Kravitz. If you Google those names, they're some of the best in the business that have grown massive businesses on calling expired listings and for sale by owner. And I have taken all of their knowledge and live practice. Now I've made about 600,000 phone calls in the last 8 years. So like a lot of practice and a lot of failure at the beginning, but this basis is really important. So um, this is what's not taught often. Your mindset is everything, right? So when I have agents on the team, a lot of times we're afraid to make this call because we're afraid of rejection. So the number one thing I get from most people is I almost don't want them to pick up. I don't know what I'm going to say. How do I deal with someone who came off the market? Even if I know they're priced too high, what do I do? So these are all I call them limiting beliefs we tell ourselves, right? And it's okay, it's common, but how do you kind of fight through this? It's just practicing. And my method of learning is I would memorize scripts for 2 times a day. I'd take 15 minutes of alone quiet time and I'd read as much as I could. I would just read them, read them, read them. And after about 2 weeks, I started to memorize. And then after I memorize, I internalize. So think about this. Every actor and actress we love watching in movies, they are practicing and reading, right, that entire script. So, and they know it so well, they become a character. They internalize, where we watch a movie and we're amazed how, they're able to come across. It's the same thing on the phone, right? So the four foundational things, and these items are why a lot of people don't do well on the phone with these calls. Enthusiasm's everything. I can't teach somebody to be passionate, to be excited, like work ethic. I can train anybody how to do this. I have a lot of agents now making a lot of money just from calling, and at first they would cry picking up the telephone. So it's just confidence. Number two, mirroring and matching. If I answer the phone and someone says hello, very quiet, I'm responding in the same way. Hello. If it's hello, hello. So you want to get in the habit, because psychologically, if you're on a different tonality, they don't match you psychologically. So a lot of this is deeper psychology, is how this works. Always agree. Number one reason people start to disagree. Why are you selling for sale by owner? You should use an agent. I don't agree with your price. Here's what I know. As soon as you disagree with another human being, you've lost. You've completely lost. Anything they say, I'm agreeing with. If they say the sky's purple and there's Skittles falling out, I'm like, yeah, yeah, no, I understand. I see it. You're always agreeing. Get in that habit and repeat and reaffirm. When I'm repeating what you're saying and I'm reaffirming, it shows that I'm intently listening and you like me already. People work with who they like and trust. So these phone calls, there's one goal: get an appointment. You're not trying to boil the ocean on these phone calls, you're trying to get in front of them. And someone will say yes to an appointment when they're confident that you could offer them value and solve their problem. Remember, we don't buy aspirin, we buy something that causes our pain to leave. So for expired, let me switch over to, can you guys see this screen? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so my expired script for us here, I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have quite a few. Why would a property expire? Multiple reasons. Sometimes it's timing of the market, but this is what I know to be true, and I glad that Brittany had brought this up. Every property's price and condition. Every property. It's price and condition. If a property isn't selling, yes, there's going to be in different markets. Again, I don't know your market. I'll say in our market in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we still have low inventory. We still have high demand, even with 7% interest rates. If properties aren't selling in our market, it is always price and condition. Always. And most of what I've seen across the country, it's usually going to be price and condition. So an expired, usually why didn't it sell? More than likely it wasn't exposed properly. That could be professional photography. That could be a multitude of reasons, but on these calls, here's the number one rule of thumb: get in the habit of calling them first at 8 a.m. If you wait till 10, you're caller number 10 or 15, they're not going to pick up your phone. By then they've either committed to another agent or they're not going to take the phone call because they realizing that their phone is ringing nonstop. You want to call the new ones early. 1/3 of every expired will list immediately. The other 1/3 will list within 60 to 90 days. The other third has pushed their dreams and goals out to 6 months plus to a year. Right. So today we're going over what to say to these folks, but the follow-up, and we're big at my team and company on time blocking. You want to have a block. My family and friends know from 8 to 11 every morning not to call me unless it is a absolute emergency. Everyone in my life knows I'm in do not disturb mode. And that is the time that I'm focused on generating new business and following up on business, because that is how the lifeblood of what we're doing. We're trying to help people. That's always my heart and where my passion is. I do this job to help people, and there's a lot of people that depend on me every day that I have to support monetarily. So I'm not going to let anybody steal my time. Everybody is going to want to take your time. Their emergency is not your emergency. Get in the habit of, I wake up every morning broke and I say, if I don't do this today, I haven't moved the needle forward for myself, my family, or my business and my team, right? So this is my open. It's very simple. Hey, my name's DJ. I'm just giving you a quick call about the property I saw on 123 Happy Street. Hey, I just noticed it came off the market. I'm curious, did that sell or is that still for sale? Exactly the way I said it. My curiosity, my tonality slowed down a little bit. Where does it come next, right? So every call you have your open, your objections are the main thing you're going to want to practice and take time, and your close. So the open, I say my name, I say exactly why I'm calling. I'm going to tell them later that I'm a real estate agent. I'm not hiding that. I'll tell them my company. I'm not hiding that. If you talk too much at the beginning, you're going to get hung up on. So you got to trust me from what works that this is going to work. Longer opens, you're going to get hung up on consistently. Their next question usually is, well, no, it didn't sell. Didn't you see it on the market when it was there? To be honest with you, no, I didn't. And I'm kind of questioning why. Now I'm going to quickly pivot to something positive about the property. I see the photos. Hey, I'm curious. And then we kind of go into more of now the objection handling. What are they? I want to know about the property. And the number one thing, please write this down. You can't manufacture motivation. Motivation is everything. When Brittany had just mentioned at the beginning of your guys' call about price reductions, I get listings for a multitude of reasons. Do not assume it's price. I got one yesterday that is $750,000 simply for the fact that they have a newborn baby and they want more time with their family and they just want everything to be done by a realtor. For them, I'm giving them back time and peace in their life. And once you know their number one reason, You repeat that. That is the thing that they signed up for. A lot of them, yes, they want it sold quickly. They want it sold for the most money with the least amount of stress, right? And we follow a pretty great, proven, repeatable system on our listing end, right? But again, remember the call is just to get in front of them. Then the game time is when you're in front of them on the listing presentation, which I'm happy to do at a later date for another call. But objections you're going to get. What makes you different from the other agent? I feel that we are remarkably different. And I say a lot of time, well, I say all the time, we are remarkably different. We are not the agents that simply put a sign in the yard, we hope and pray. We have a strategy, right? So does price matter? Of course it does, right? In this market with a little bit less demand because of interest rates, we want to show more value to the marketplace by offering a more attractive price and having everything else, again, the professional photography. Now, if their motivation, like this couple that wants just time back, they said they can wait a year until they get their price. And if you chase a dollar amount, we can't control that. In every call and every meeting, I tell my clients, I cannot control the market. The market will tell us the price. I give them a range, and everything I do is data driven, data on the comparable sales. We need that to have a baseline. That's what the bank's going to look at, right? But what's most important in this market also, Brittany alluded to that. What's active? What is our competition? Based on your goals, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, we have to be number one or number two on everybody's list to come see our property. If we're not, the property is going to sit longer. What happens when properties sit? What does everyone think? Something's wrong with it, right? So again, going back to the script, I have my open. They're probably a little bit upset. And they're not upset with you. They're upset because their home didn't sell and their dreams in their mind were shattered. So now that they've made the decision to pull the property off the market, I'm asking questions. I'm not saying much about our company, our accolades. Nobody cares. They don't care. They care about you helping them. So normal rebuttal will be from them. Well, you saw it for sale. Hey, yeah, we're not selling. We had it on the market. Hey, I'm curious. Can you tell me anything about feedback? Did you get any offers? I'm just scratching my head because it looks like a great home. I'm really kind of not sure why it didn't sell. What are your thoughts? I don't know. We didn't hear anything from the agent. Communication is key. I talk to every one of my listings a minimum of once per week, usually on Mondays. Please get in the habit of this. If you don't, they're going to fire you. Number one reason I get expired listings, I never heard from my agent. We signed a piece of paper and I never heard another thing from them. Right? Just communicating with them and being honest and upfront is going to keep you there. They're going to know you're working hard for them. So then we're going down the list. I want them talking about that. What am I going to ask them next? Hey, I'm curious. This is important. When the house sells, where are you going next? Not if, when. When the house sells for you, where are you going next? Well, we plan to move to Texas. Oh, that's awesome. What brings you to Texas? Well, we have the grandparents live there. We want to be closer to family for the kids, etc. There's their motivation. That's the key. You have, and the first thing they tell you is usually not the motivation. I'll give you guys one quick example because I believe stories you'll remember. I called a gentleman about 2 years ago that was looking in a few good school districts here in Pennsylvania. Same thing, the home expired. He was selling one. I didn't realize he was buying one. Please write this down. Don't treat leads as listing leads or buyer leads. Treat them as they could be referrals, they could buy, they could sell, they could lease. So we have this mindset of, well, these are just people that are selling. They're just people that are buying. Usually someone selling is going to buy, and usually someone's buying might have somewhere to sell. So we want to get in the habit of digging deeper for business. So this gentleman actually didn't sell a property. I'm talking about it with him. He's a little bit agitated, and I say, listen, my intention is not to upset you on this call. It's simply to help you. I'm just trying to understand because I am scratching my head why this didn't sell. And it really was a great property. It should have sold immediately. So I was confused. He starts to talk. I didn't hear from my agent. I'm not sure about feedback. I think maybe I was a little bit priced high. Maybe I should have painted the inside den that's, a bright purple. So we're going down this list. And finally, this is all I simply say. I said, let me ask you a question. Before you commit to leaving the property off the market, if you were confident the property would actually sell and you'd have a check in your hand at the closing table in 45 to 60 days, would that even excite you anymore? Or you completely just gave up the idea of selling? He said, no, if I really believed I could sell a property, I want to list it again. I said, well, that's awesome. So a more important question, when the property sells, where are you going next? I want to get my child into a better school. Okay. What school districts are you thinking about? Tells me two schools. Why are those schools important to you? Please write this down. Get in the habit of saying, why is this important to you? Why does this matter to you? In a perfect world, if they're short with you on the phone, hey, I totally understand. In a perfect world, what if I could, if I could you, or could you, if like get in the habit of just asking more and going deeper. So finally, he says, the reason for these two schools, I have an autistic daughter that I wanted to have the best care and the best teachers. And I said, well, based on that, is there one particular school that you're leaning toward? And he said, yes. And now I have the reason. That's the only reason this individual wanted to sell was for his little girl. So then I simply said, well, let me ask you this. I'm not going to make promises over the phone, nor do I ask you. Can we at least get together so I can go through my proven and repeatable system that I've literally helped over 2,000 people now be successful at? And all I want to do is go over this. And listen, there is no promises. Either my plan is going to work for you, we're going to work together. Your plan might not align with my plan, which is completely okay. And I'll choose not to work with you, or you'll choose not to work with me. There's power in these words, right? You never want to come across desperate or needy. People want a confident, they're hiring confidence. Really, that's the bottom line. They're hiring someone that they believe can get the job done for their family. He said, no problem. We met. I listed the property at the exact same price. I sold it within a week, or got under contract within a week, I should say. It wasn't marketed properly. And as listing agents, as strong ones, I'm doing the extra effort. I'm doing some paid advertising. I'm doing professional photography. I'm reaching out to every other agent in the marketplace with a search. That's, reverse prospecting. We have great relationships with our agents locally. That's another thing I'd say is any agent, especially a newer one, become close with all the other agents. Those relationships will pay you dividends 10 times over. 10 times. They want to work with you. They'll see your name on an offer. Surprise, surprise, you won the offer on multiple offers. They want to work with you, right? So in this instance, I was able to successfully get that listing sold, and I found him a perfect home for his daughter that was right next to the high school. And this mattered because it's a walking district. There's no buses, right? So when you really are just solving people's problems and you come from your intent and mindset of helping, you're going to win 10 times over. I'll share this with Brittany after the call so you guys have this as far as some objections and kind of a guide. But again, the objection, everyone, for expireds, it's not commission. They don't trust real estate agents. You're overcoming why you're different. Different sells. Being the same, you're just in the rat race of every other agent out there that, again, I call it the hope and pray method, putting a sign in the yard. I love what Brittany said about you guys earlier on the call. I tell my team we are advisors. We have a fiduciary and an advisory responsibility to our clients. We are not just real estate agents. We are trained as financial advisors. We are looking through the financials. We're talking to them very differently. And this is a big, big investment for them to either sell or make, and a big moment in their life. And when you do it right, you're a part of their family. You're on their Christmas card list. You're a very important person to them for years to come. So for us, after the closing, the relationship truly begins then and continues. I do want to mention briefly, just because I believe that with some of the changes that are more than likely upcoming, for sale by owners will become very important. We do amazing on these, and the objection on a for sale by owner is typically I don't want to pay a commission, right? That's the number one objection. I can do it myself. So this script is slightly different. I'm just saying, hey, this is DJ, just giving you a quick call about the property on 123 Happy Street. Hey, I noticed that was for sale by owner, right? Yeah, who are you? Or are you an agent? Yes, yeah, I'm actually a local agent. And I noticed the property. As you know, as a professional, I'm looking at everything on the MLS. I want to be familiar with everything on the market. Hey, I'm curious. Can you tell me a little bit about the property for things I can't see on Zillow or the internet? The reason I say that is proactive. They're going to say, well, look at it on Zillow, everything's there. They don't have the age of the roof usually. They don't have things that matter to me in my market. I'm going to go through that. Why am I doing this? To get them to talk. I want them to open up and start feeling a little more comfortable. After we're having discussion, I get this is a big rebuttal. Why don't you bring me a buyer? I say very candidly, if I had a buyer right now, I'd be there with them and a bag of money. We'd be closing. It'd be very easy for me. But let me ask you a question. If I brought that buyer, keep this in mind, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm representing the buyer. My fiduciary responsibilities to them, we're negotiating against each other. I would prefer to bring you 15, 20, 30 buyers, which I'm sure you would appreciate as well, and be your business partner. That's my first, right? It's my first way to make them think different. Well, what do you mean by that, DJ? Well, let me ask you this. Closing up the item about the buyer, if I had one, would you be willing to pay any sort of compensation? Yeah, we've thought about it, maybe 1%, 2%. Why do I ask that? I want to see and understand if they're willing to pay anything. Most are. Then I'm going back to my point about what we're able to do. So I will say something as simply before I get into this last part. So let me ask you the same question. When the property sells for you, where are you going next? We're building, we're moving, new job. They're going to tell you the motivation. Now you know the motivation. I just had one recently for sale by owner. They were on the market for a month. Please write this down too. Call them the first day. Do not be afraid to call them the very first day they're on the market. I talked to a couple 9 times until they decided, you know what, we're ready to meet with you and do this. Most agents give up after the very first phone call. If you make a phone call more than once, your percentage goes up about 30%. By call number 8 or 9, here's the good news. There's not a single agent making the phone call. None. Zero. Everyone is done after 5 or 6 phone calls. Everyone. All of the studies show most don't make over 60% of the people we talk to, we make one phone call. There is golden follow-up. So for this couple, I finally called, and here's what they said to me. We're building new construction. Our property will be done in June. We have plenty of time. I said, that's fair. I said, let me ask you this. If the property doesn't sell by June, I'm sure you have a backup plan, right? No, there is no backup plan. There's no more money. Okay. Well, with your permission, if you allow me, can I talk through the timeline a bit more for you? If you're closing in June, we'd have to be under contract for your property minimum 45 days, comfortably 60. We'd need about 60 days to get to the closing table. Now we can move quicker, but that's a safe number. So now that puts us at, let's say, April. All of April, all of May gets you to June. Well, based on the market and buyers being very choosy right now, and our winter market's very slow, if the average sales price is anywhere from 60 to 90 days plus, even if we listed today, we may or may not be under contract by April. And then you said there is no backup plan, and I don't want that to happen. I want you to have a peaceful and happy, entrance into your new construction home. That right there made them think different. They go, we really never thought about this timeline. We haven't bought and sold many properties. I said, all I'm asking for is to sit down and talk through this as an advisor. At the end of the meeting, if you don't feel comfortable working with me, I know that I'll leave you with a ton of knowledge and you'll be much more educated, regardless if it's another agent or you stay selling for sale by owner. Is that fair? That's fair, DJ. Luckily, we got it sold pretty quickly in about 30 days. Now they're so grateful because they have their cash in hand. They're living with family temporarily. They're going to be good on the new construction. But again, they don't, we think that all these clients know more than we do. We're the professionals. We know timelines. We know there's so many intricacies in selling and buying property. It's not as easy as TV sometimes shows. It's like, we're under contract. We're throwing a party. Everything's great. There's a lot of things, especially in my market. There's a lot of older homes. We have a lot of problems because they were all built in 1900. So again, I say that on your for sale by owner call. Once I'm able to dissect their motivation, This is always what I'm saying. This is very powerful. So, Mr. and Miss Customer, I'm curious if there was a way we could partner together and I could net you the same or more money. I'm sure you would at least be open-minded to hearing more about that, right? Why is that words and questions so important? Nobody wants to be closed-minded. Do any of you want to answer that question? No, no, nobody does. You inherently want to say, yeah, I'm open-minded. Great. So how does tomorrow at 2 or Saturday at 3:30 work for you? That's my very next question. Go right for the appointment. If they hesitate, well, I'm not sure if we're ready. That's okay. Tell me more about that. What did I just do? Agreed with them and ask a question. Agree with them and ask a question. I hear so many people make these calls and they go, you should really be using an agent. You shouldn't be doing this yourself. I tell them they can and they can. I say, listen, you can absolutely do this on your own. However, I am very, very confident that I'm going to net you 10 to 15% more money. If I handed you a $2, if you hand me a $2 bill and I hand you back $10, you would take that deal, right? And I tell them too, and I am financially invested. I'm paying for professional photography. We're paying for some advertising. I say it's actually more risk on me. If the property doesn't sell, I lose the hard money I spent, especially as the team owner, and then I don't get compensated. I don't like the word commission. Use compensation, right? And I tell them, write this down. This is important. All of you are an investment. You're not an expense. When I pay my CPA $5,000 a year, it's because he's saving me a tremendous amount of money based on his knowledge and expertise of my tax bill, right? He is an investment to me. We are investments to them. And I say that on the phone. I say, think of me as an investment. If I can't net you what you need or more, it's very simple. You're not going to say yes. And worst case, you fire me. So your position in life doesn't change. My position does financially, but I'm very confident that's not going to happen. Period. I'm gonna execute. I'm gonna successfully land the airplane like we have 2,000 other times. We're gonna sell every property, right? And that confidence is again to get you in front of. Now that continues in your listing presentation, which we have a very detailed presentation that I feel offers so much value. Quite frankly, we should all be charging 10%. That's the other thing I look at with our business is most other, say you're a doctor and attorney, different things, you charge more of experience and expertise. In our business now, we're getting downward pressure on commission. We're making more commission than we ever had because of the law change. And that is an articulation of value. A question of your price is an absence of value, right? If we all had to go to dinner tonight, we can go to McDonald's and we can be full, we can eat food, or we can go to Morton's Steakhouse. Why is one so much more costly? The value you receive, better food, better experience, a memory, etc., right? I look at our business, we are the Ritz-Carlton of real estate agents. And the value that I'm going to provide will so far exceed my compensation. Because think about this, everyone. There's three big negotiations, at least in my market. Getting under contract is the easy one. I earn my compensation during the inspection period. So if I was selling it one of your homes, $300,000 house, I get under contract for 300,000, we're happy. Inspection comes back. Your roof needs replaced. Your furnace isn't functioning properly. Let's say the list totals $30,000. And now I'm going to get different quotes and I'm going to work that number down, let's say to 15,000. My ability to negotiate with the other agent, let's say we settle on a $5,000 credit. As the seller, they were mentally prepared thinking this is going to cost me $30,000. When you become the hero and show them it was only 2,000, 3, 4, whatever the number may be, you have earned your compensation. Now they will remember you forever. And I remind them, remember when you hired me and I promised you that I would over deliver? I just did. And then we have finally the appraisal contingency. Last one, if something comes up, we're negotiating, right? But selling real estate is a lot of steps. And we actually go over 141 different variables. And we've outlined this to show them how many pitfalls there are, but we are their guardian angel protecting them every step of the way, and we're getting them to the closing table, and we're their guide, right? So I'm going to pause for a second. I know I've said a lot. I could talk about this for hours upon end, but any questions, anything you guys are thinking about, any feedback?
What's your favorite thing you've heard so far? What did you pick up on so far?
I would prefer to be your business partner and bring you multiple buyers.
Ooh,
That was a good one. right
good
there.
nugget. Good nugget. What else?
I like where he said, don't treat them as a seller or buyer leads, but they could also be referrals.
I wrote that down too. I would agree with him when he said that the number one complaint from an expired listing is I never heard back from my agent.
Yeah.
They put it on the market. I never heard anything about any feedback. He's always gone to a golf tournament or he's at a party and he never called me back. That is like my number one thing that I hear from expireds too. So
Yeah.
communication is very important.
Don't give up after the first call.
Yeah, that's.
Don't give up after that first call. Yeah.
When the going gets tough, don't disappear.
Oh, yes. Oh, I gotta write that down.
And then the question of your price is a question of your value.
Yeah, I think like. There are still some agents, even on our team, that are afraid to ask for a whole 3 apples, you know, like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, where he said all of us are an investment, not an expense.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah. I think like we get nervous because we're afraid of projection, but you guys got all this schooling and then you come in here and you get all this education here and then you get into the school of hard knocks and the actual transactions and you have even more experience and the average homeowner. I mean, like AJ and I have not sold, like the house we're about to sell. The last time we sold our personal home was 11 years ago. So if you think about that, if I didn't do this on a day-to-day basis, I would have no idea what I needed to do to get my house sold in today's market, because it was a very different market then. And so when he puts that in perspective, it just reminds me, we do have something of value to share. It's about finding a way to have a conversation where we get them open to hearing it, right? We don't have to convince them. I love what he also said is like your whole goal on this call is to get an appointment. Not to convince them that you're right and they're wrong, not to give them the whole plan, not to negotiate commission, none of it. Your job is to get in front of them, period. No ifs, ands, or buts. So I loved that. I don't know if anybody's rolling into your chat or anything.
Kristen said this is really great.
Let me see here. Thank you guys. No, honestly, those were all great points, and you made me think of a couple last items I want to share. Your consistency is your key. Now, this is still hard even for me. Like I'm still in production heavy. I run a big team. I'm lucky I have a business partner. When I am disciplined with my blocks, I kill it. And here's where it gets hard is once you start being successful and you have a lot of listings and life gets thrown at you in different things, like there's always going to be exceptions. But I look at this like the gym, it's a silly analogy, it's so true. If I'm the guy that works out really hard 2 days a week and I kill myself, there's somebody else I see at the gym that goes for an hour walk every morning. Every day, they're just there for 1 hour walking. They'll be healthier and they'll lose more weight than me because it's daily consistency, right? It's that whole day. There's so many of these studies that are remarkable to my brain, like the 2 twin brothers for 90 days, twins, right? They ate the same diet except one didn't drink a Coca-Cola and one did. The brother that drank the Coca-Cola for 90 days gained 10 pounds, the other one lost like 7. It's like remarkable. Like the things we take for granted, the little things. And I believe in starting your day the right way. I think gets you on a good and I know, again, we all have lives and it's hard, kids and this and stress, but getting up, getting your mind right, any type of quick workout or being with family, like I believe that the beginning of your day kind of is crucial. But in my mind, and this is thousands of people now that are smarter than me and that have coached me, you name it. Greg Harrelson, who runs an amazing team out of Myrtle Beach, same thing. They're on the phone at 8 a.m. There's no question. There's no excuse. There's no email. There's no fire. We're lucky in real estate. We're not paramedics. We're not firemen. We're not doctors. We're not nurses. Like nobody's going to die. Very, very rarely there's a real estate emergency. Don't make other people's emergencies take away money from your family. Because that's what it is. Like you have to get really intent inside and say, I'm doing this job to help people, but I'm doing this job to build wealth for my family and my children and their future. Like in my family, I grew up with a family with barely went to college and no money. I want to be the one that breaks the whole mold for my family and separates that I'm going to leave a legacy and something huge to pass on to my children to say, well, and it's not about how many houses dad sold. It's how many people's lives did I change and what good did I give back to this world, right? And every time, like when I look at fear, I overcome fear because my intent to help is greater than my fear. Someone wants to be rude to me on the phone, say something negative, tell me to F off. I've heard it all. Hey, no problem. Sounds good. Have a good day. I don't care. I used to be my ratios for all you that are newer. I was 50 for one, 50 contacts to get one appointment. It was very hard and frustrating. I'd call for 4 or 5 hours a day and just get pounded on. But I would tell myself, it's going to get better. You're going to make this work. And I would get one and I would get two. And two turned into, I did 30 one year and then it was 50 and then it was 100. It gets easier over time, but it's the consistent effort and work. If you can just stay consistent, and again, not saying it has to be 3 hours. Some of my agents on the team, they do it for 1 hour a day, and I'm proud of them. I say 1 hour a day is so much better than zero. So the goals can start smaller and you'll build the muscle, just like working out. You get stronger, you get mentally stronger, you can handle more rejection. But now my ratios, I'm about 1 for 7. And that took me about 3 years. So this was not an overnight thing. I paid for a lot of coaching. I practiced a ton. I failed a lot, and I'm still trying to get better. So as your ratios get better, you get more excited because you know you can make the cash register ring. I mean, that to me is the most exciting thing in a down market. I can just make a ton of phone calls and I know I can create opportunities. But I also know that if I'm not on the phone talking to people, and we know this, there is no magic lead fairy that's showing up to our office be like, all right, I got 30 listings today for you guys and 10 new buyers that want to buy today. They're just going to buy the first house. Like that's not how the real world works, right? So stay consistent, keep a positive mindset, and anytime you get nervous or afraid, and I tell people this on the phone if they're rude, I'm only calling to help you. I didn't call to upset you. I'm a professional. I'm very confident that I can do that. And if you're just not having a good day, that's okay. Here's the other great thing. I've talked to people who've hung up on me. I've called them back 4 days later. They won't remember talking to you. They won't. I swear. Some of my best friend clients told me to F off on the first call, never call them again. And I was like, they're not mad at me. They're just having a bad day. And I call them a week later. Hey, how you do? Same script, same everything. Hey, I'm good. Great. Now we have a good conversation. Now they're my friend. And I'm like, do you remember the first time you talked to me? You told me to F off. Oh, I did. Well, my kid was late for school. My car wouldn't start. Blah, 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 blah. We're human beings, right? Don't take it personal. If you fall in love with this process, which I know isn't sexy or fancy, but if you just embrace it, you'll have tremendous success. Because here's the cool thing. After you do enough of these, you start getting tons of referrals. They all refer you, by the way. Every for sale by owner or expired, they'll remember you forever because you did something difficult that they didn't think was possible, especially the expireds. Like they're the most grateful clients I've ever had. And the for sale by owners, they always admit at the end, man, I'm glad I had you. This would have been really hard without you. Right? So I really appreciate you guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll help any way I can. I'll share kind of some of the scripts that Brittany, to use so you can share. And yeah, just have a great one. And hopefully I added some value today to you guys.
You added a tremendous amount of value. I have like 3 pages of notes and
Yeah.
I have really bad ADHD. So that tells you something right there. Absolutely phenomenal job. Thank you for giving your time, DJ. And don't send anything to me.
Yeah.
Send it to Claire. It'll get lost
Okay.
in like a deep pit of just blackness in my email if it comes to me.
right.
But within about 20 minutes, my team will be in Slack going, did we upload the recording and do we have the materials? So, lickety split there. Just send it
I'm
over
on
to
it.
Claire.
No problem.
And they're excited to learn. And what I love is we had two people speak on expireds, and there were some things, correct me if I'm wrong, there were some things that were completely like almost the same, but then they both offered their own unique perspective on top of it. So it kind of gave us two different vibes when it comes to expireds. And it means the world to me that you took time out of your day to come and educate my team. Thank you. Thank you so
It's my
much.
pleasure. Awesome. I appreciate you guys. Have an awesome week, and I thank you.
Awesome. You can jump off when you're ready, and I so appreciate you. Have a great
Thank
day.
you guys. Have an awesome day.
Right. What? That was rude, Claire.
I waited right till the end and
He's still there. You must have. She said go Eagles or something. I don't know if that's offensive or not.
Claire. Now, I'm going to go with you, Claire, because we're PA. I'm a little bit sad, of course, with the Steelers, but I'll root for your Eagles because we're Pennsylvania.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
All right.
it's like that moment where you're like, can you believe my mother said that? And she's like, I'm still on, Claire.
Oh, good. I got thick skin. I'll take it.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks again. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Oh, that was so good, Claire. That was good stuff right there. Oh, goodness.
Actually, I'm gonna, yeah, it's still a little too granular. I'll send it out afterwards. We spent too much.
We would love for you to still share with us, of course. So, you guys know, like our lead generation model is huge and there's lots of options. Doesn't mean you have to tap into everything. You really only need like 2 good lead sources to really make a great 6-figure business. But that's why we're teaching you so many pieces of it, because if you're realizing that one piece that's your favorite is not getting you where you need to go, we're going to make sure that you're learning some of the others. I know you learn them in launch, but you kind of get to like stick your toe in the water. Our goal this year is to get a little bit deeper in there. So there's a lot of things on the training calendar. Please tune into those. This Wednesday, we have a letters and door knocking day. So target is 40 handwritten cards or hand addressed golden letters created. Or if you decide to door knock, I guess it's going to depend on the weather. And if you decide to door knock, the goal would be 40 doors knocked. I recommend you door knock with friends, because then like somebody can drive the car and like kind of slowly follow you down the street, and then you swap, so that
Melody used to be.
it's really, really fun when you do it with a buddy. If you do it by yourself, it's super awkward.
And
So
lunch will be here at 11:30 on Wednesday, so please come get lunch. You have to reschedule from last week, and don't ask me the name of the community. But essentially, like, this woman's coming in from Jefferson, she's got a whole community being built. And like AJ was saying, that normally doesn't happen, where people go out to offices or real estate agents and feed them and say, like, please come eat our food and come bring your clients to these houses. But they are, so come eat her food.
Yeah.
yeah, come on up. And you can like stand.
Can I turn off this?
Yep,
or-
you sure can.
Okay.
AJ, will you slide that off?
Yeah, we're just gonna do it live.
Just
here.
slide the little thing. There you go.
So AJ and I had lunch a little while back and we were talking about construction lending. And so he'd asked to come in and talk to you guys about construction lending, and we're gonna talk about that, but I think I can add more value in kind of going through construction and some other loan programs that we're doing. So we're gonna hit it strictly on products today. I can sit up here and tell you guys, I'm great, I've got great service, I've got great people, but until you use us, you really don't know. And that's, I think, what the majority of lenders are gonna tell you, like, we're awesome. So I'm gonna hit it from a product standpoint, and then maybe we'll get an opportunity this year, and then you can see how our service works, and then from there, we'll go on. And if I can help you guys close one more transaction this year, then it's a win for me. So, all right, and I'm Evan, by the way. I've been in the mortgage business for 15 years, started right out of college, and still hanging around.
Where are you based out of?
I am based out of Bethlehem, Georgia. That's where our office is. But I'm all over the place. I live in Jefferson, so it's kind of nice. And forgive my handwriting.
You have doctor handwriting.
I have typing handwriting. So, all right. Are y'all familiar with these 4 loans? How many times of the lenders you work with that you send buyers to, they call you back and say, okay, well, we can't do this one, but we can do that one. Or they say, hey, great, VA, we can do that one. You don't see this one too much anymore, right? How many times we see USDA? It's kind of tough. The hard part about USDA is they have a front end debt to income ratio that's really strict. And you can't really, it's a hard fit. So, but how many times do you have your lenders tell you like, we can't qualify for anything? Right? Can't do any of these. All right, so we're gonna shift it up a little bit. So we'll
I
say,
feel like I need to give you a better one.
can y'all even see this?
Not really. We just not.
Here's a thicker one.
Yeah, they're going. In my mind, when I drew this up in my head, I was like, oh, there's real slight. Construction, we'll say. So we'll talk about construction first, because that's the reason why I'm here today. So, and it's kind of a double-edged sword as a lender coming to you guys and talk to you about construction lending. And I'm gonna be honest, get the elephant out of the room. So you're working with a buyer, they want to buy a $600,000 house, right? And they've looked at many houses and they decide, well, maybe we want to go build. Let's go buy a piece of land, let's build. Well, if they go buy land, it's gonna be what, 100, 200,000. So it's always kind of like, from a commission standpoint, it's a little different, right? So, but this is a great solution for folks. And in our world, there's a couple different ways you can do a construction loan. You can do what's called a 2-time close, where you go to the lender and you get a construction loan to build the house. And then you got to turn around and go back through that process again to get a permanent mortgage. There's some advantages to that, but there's many disadvantages. One of the big disadvantages is that you're paying closing costs twice. And you have to requalify. So it's a little bit scary for that buyer, that homeowner, especially if they own a business. Sometimes a build may take 12 months. They may have to refile taxes again. They may not be able to qualify the second go round. In our world, we do what's called a one-time close construction loan. And what that means is that we qualify the buyer based on the end loan. So we are able to write the construction loan for them, and that loan is going to automatically turn into a permanent mortgage once it's said and done. What's great about this program, and this is the myth that a lot of people think, that if I'm going to go build a house, I need 20% down. That's absolutely not true. We can do a conventional construction loan with as little as 5% down. We can do FHA with 3.5%. VA is 100% if they qualify, if they're a veteran. And an even better part about this, we can do these for manufactured homes. That is a really big thing right now. So we've had clients who have bought manufactured homes in the range of 100 to 120,000 for the house. Bought a piece of land for 40 to 50,000, so they're in it for under 200. And the last two that we've had appraised for 280, and the other one was 300. So they're walking into this with $100,000 of equity. And talk about affordability. Sub 200,000 for a loan amount, it's pretty awesome.
I'm gonna stop you right there because I think everybody in this room is gonna come across situations like that. There's probably a lot of buyers in the room that have people that would work for, where they get mixed up is like, where do we start? How do we find the land? When do we pull you in for the mobile home? Like, there's so many pieces to that. Like, that's why it's easier. Hey, there's a mobile home on some land, somebody's selling, we just write a contract for it and we're done. Could you stop and sort of, like, just for a second,
Sure.
touch on, if they're thinking about doing that, do they need to go ahead and call a manufactured home place and pick out a model before they start looking for land? Like, how does that all work together?
Yeah,
realistically?
Great question. So, it all starts with us. We're going to pre-approve that client. And if they, they are looking to do something like this, we're going to look for the highest amount they may need, right? So if it's 300,000, we'll go ahead and qualify them on 300. What's great about this program is the guidelines are the same. So let's say we're doing an FHA construction loan. The guidelines are the same for an FHA construction loan as they would be for an FHA purchase. So if they come to us wanting to buy a house and we qualify them for FHA, and they call back 2 weeks later and they're like, hey, I want to build, great. We've already qualified you, you're good. So once they're qualified.
Yeah, so if they're looking for something, but then they find a lot,
Yep.
they can just switch over.
Yep. Yeah, so I think you kind of run two together. So if, I would say that they would be able to, they should go ahead and start reaching out to manufactured home dealers, kind of get an idea of what the cost is going to be for that house, all while you looking for land for them. And let's say they find that piece of land, they can write a contract on the land. I would write it for a longer period of time. So you'd want to do like 45 to 60 days for the closing. That will give enough time for, it's going to take a little longer for a construction loan on a mortgage. It's just going to take a little longer. What can normally take about 2 weeks may take 30 to 45 days. The manufactured home part is a great alternative because they're not having to go out and find a builder. They're not having to think about plans and specs. Like, what am I gonna build? How much is it gonna cost? It's all information that's easily accessible. You know, they can get that information pretty quickly. So for areas that y'all operate in, great alternative.
And then, on that, cause like me and Brittany had went to some of those dealers before for situations and like, do they do the septic, set up porches, install air, like, you know, cause a lot of that, I know agents are kind of wondering in their head too, like, you know, what role do we play? Are we just find the land and connect them to a manufactured home person? Or what else do we need to handle? And is that something that you would help
Yes.
on?
Yeah, so the dealer is likely gonna have a contact that can help put the house on site and, you know, grade the lot, septic. They've likely got those referral partners. Y'all do as well, right? Y'all know other GCs, builders, septic people, and, you know, y'all can help with that too, but we also can as well. Now, if we get into a situation where y'all are switching it up and maybe doing these on more of a listing front, like we've got some, you know, once we do one or two together, it becomes much easier. The first one's gonna be a little bit, you know, just kind of feeling everything out, how it's gonna work. But we absolutely work together with you in finding those contacts. I've got, you know, contacts around the area that can do all those things. Really, at the end of the day, it's just grading, septic, and then if you want to put a permanent foundation down.
And all that stuff's financed into the loan,
Yeah.
like the.
Yeah, it's all financeable. You can also finance payments into the loan. So if a client is selling a house and to go build, but they don't want to make two payments at the same time, they can finance the payments into the mortgage if there's enough room with the appraisal. During construction, the client pays interest only. So, and it's based on the draw amount. So the loan, so say the $300,000 total loan amount, it starts out at zero. Right, go to closing, normally there's a draw, it's like 10% or so, and then as they take draws, that loan balance grows, but their payment is only based on what they owe.
So
So
say they close first, and then the first draw is actually for the land.
That's
And
correct.
it's like $60,000. So now they're only paying interest only on that $60,000 until it's time for the rest.
For the next draw, and then they pay a payment off the next draw, and it kind of builds over there, and it's interest only until it perms up. I'm trying to think of any other smaller things that we may need to cover on the construction stuff.
I would say if you guys are involved with somebody that is going start to finish with building the land, I would be at every appointment with them if it was me. I would consult with the people who have already done it on the team and say, what would you ask a mobile home builder and a mobile home dealer? And then write down your list of questions, and you're gonna help interview those people and tell them not to sign anything and not to make any commitments until you have helped them interview a couple. And then you make the decisions. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that's where you hold value, is helping them not just get rose-colored glasses and they're like, it's wonderful. That house had granite countertops and everything's beautiful. And meanwhile, like, there's some really terrible reviews and they don't warranty stuff or whatever, and behind the scenes. So, you know, I would be with them at every appointment. If I could, I would go interview the couple of mobile home dealers. I would interview the lenders with them that they're talking to, whether it's Zoom or in person, and help them sift through the information, because it's a lot.
Well, and he touched on one thing in the beginning about how, you know, realtors feel like if they go to the construction route, you're not gonna get paid, but I've been paid before on deals that were not listed by just having that conversation on the front end. If this is a client and you're wanting to shop for a manufactured home, you're probably gonna get paid a commission on the lot if it was on the market, but when you go to connect your client to the manufactured home dealer, ask around and see who's paying a referral fee for you bringing somebody. That way you get paid on the lot and you get paid on the manufactured home. Same with builders. If I got a buyer that I'm bringing for you to build a custom home to them, I'm gonna talk to you on the front end about me getting paid.
The other
And-
option is not necessarily that the manufacturer home person pays you. It could be that you say, hey, we need to package this where I've got the land, I've got the mobile home, I've got the all the stuff that goes with the mobile home to make it financeable, and I need you to also have in there the 3% commission or compensation, and then that's our whole package. And if you're having great buyer consults, your client knows you get paid for your time, but if you're supporting them and helping them sift through those details, you're worth it.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, if they're walking into it with $60,000 worth of equity, you shouldn't feel bad if you put together all the pieces for them to get manufactured a home and a lot, all at, retail or below retail price, and help them kind of get it all set up.
Yeah, and if you tell them, like you mentioned, I'm gonna be here for every appointment, every time we go to the house for the draw process, I'll be here from start to finish to help guide you through that. That's huge value, and I know people would pay for that.
Well, and the reason I slowed down is because if you're newer on the team and hadn't done many transactions, or even if you had and hadn't done a lot of construction, some of this stuff might like just well up in your head of like, I wouldn't even know where to start on this. Like, pull one of us in and let's kind of get together, because there is definitely more moving parts with this than just going and writing an offer on an existing property. But he's talking about people that are walking in with $60,000 to $100,000 of equity. That person's going to tell their person. It's going to tell that's a lifetime worth of clients if you can do the legwork. And like I'm saying, there's more pieces, but like, get us if you have a client looking for that, because I'm sitting here thinking I got 2 or 3 clients that would love to go that route. No more down payment, maybe a little bit longer timeline, but have something new on a lot they want and walk into it with a ton of equity. Like, and that's why I wanted him to come talk, because when he was telling me that, I was like, there's no way that can be the case, because like, we're building a house, we had to put 20% down and have a insane amount of reserves, and he's saying you can do that with 3.5%, 5% down. Like, we need to know about this.
Yeah, yeah, that's one of the great things about Cross Country. Cross Country is the number 3 retail lender in the country, so they're big, which can be looked at as good and bad thing. But the way Cross Country is set up is they're very entrepreneurial based from a management standpoint. So they have all the programs, products, tools available, and they say, like, you go build it how you want to build it. So we've got a really small group within a big company. That's why we have stuff like this, these types of programs. And yeah, I mean, try something new, right? Get uncomfortable, because once you do it once, now you know how to do it, and you may create a niche for yourself. I remember when there was a time, like when I saw the word USDA, I was like, no, I'm not doing that. We're staying away from that. And then all of these programs, we'll touch on these for a second, but I didn't even want to touch them. Yeah, because they just wouldn't, like, I didn't know how the process worked. I did not want to create a bad process for my clients at all. So it's kind of a fine line. You don't want to, do something you don't really know a lot about, but you got to do it to know it. Anything else you want me to talk about on the construction?
Well, no, I was just saying that what you're insinuating or talking about would, like, we see those listings everywhere too. These new manufactured homes sitting on lots, like we're bringing our buyers to them. That's an avenue to get listings. Like, do you know somebody that's got money that could qualify to slap a new mobile home on a lot? You just go find them the lot, help them get hooked up with him, and he finances it, and then you turn around and sell it for $250 when it costs them $200. Like, that might be a whole new avenue for you to get a seller or an investor.
100%. 100%. There's guys doing a lot of this. That's kind of, yeah, I thought
big now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, sorry. That was...
No, you're good. I appreciate you bringing it up, because I'll get going and I'll be too high level. We can get down into that.
I'm very open to recommendations on mobile home dealers
Okay.
that are not like the mainstream dealers, like Comfort Homes or
Clayton
Arbor
Homes.
Homes. Clayton. I'm looking for someone that's not so big. They can do a little more.
My favorite was Flamingo Homes.
That's, yeah.
Was it Tom? Isn't that his
Mhm.
name?
They are like the gold standard with ethics, morals, pricing, product, everything.
Did you think
Clayton.
of flamingos?
I don't know.
Clayton really
Clayton
made
is
my-
terrible. No, Clayton is the worst. It is the absolute worst. The one that's over there by Athens Tech. No, you should know, they are the absolute worst.
Is
You
it
will
Clayton
walk
or
in and
Comfort?
feel like.
Comfort Homes cussed at me and hung up on me too.
Oh, I don't know, but this one's the one that's on 29, and you walk into the homes and they already feel cheaper. They do beat prices, but then what happens is you move in and all of your plumbing starts leaking, your stuff starts failing, and then you have to call over and over and over again 1,000,000 times to get your shit warranted. So, I have a bunch of friends.
Flamingo Homes?
I like Flamingo Homes,
Mhm.
gold standard, 100%.
Yeah, I guess we kind of did a little bit of a tangent on the manufactured home. So I guess the last thing on construction is that also includes stick build as well.
For
So
sure.
if they got somebody who wants to build a house.
Yep, stick built, and it can be done for primary, second homes, or investment properties too. So for investors who, may have land that they want to build on to rent property out, we can do investment loans for construction as well. Now construction, they're gonna all fall into,
Single.
Okay. You're not single, so
For me.
for time's sake,
Yes.
do any of you know what the rest of these mean in detail? Okay, then you need his business card.
Yeah,
For the next time that somebody says, I was told no. Got it? I don't need you to memorize this. I just need you to know that you have resources. I need you to know, like, who you gonna call? And it's not Ghostbusters. It's gonna be.
And that's for, these are for your guys' loans, right? Like you guys are business owners. You
Right.
guys are-
For sure.
like in 1099, we take 90% of your 1099 income and we don't even look at tax returns, period.
But it's a higher interest rate,
It's
right?
a little bit higher. It's gonna be about 1/4 to 1/2% higher than market, but there's plenty of folks that want to buy and have the money to buy.
Amen, yeah.
That
So-
asset loan is what made Nolan a millionaire,
Mhm.
because he would buy something and then use the asset that he had for a loan on the next thing.
Yeah, we have 125% of an asset or in assets of the loan amount, we don't qualify on income whatsoever. So for folks who have a lot of money, like heavy assets, heavy like retirement, like I had a client who had $3 million in retirement, they were drawing Social Security. We were able to write a loan for them.
Cool. Did you bring business cards?
I did.
Awesome.
Thank y'all
Um,
for your time.
for the sake of time, because we had two amazing speakers today, we'll go ahead and kind of wrap up, and if you'll stick around and kind of shake hands, and there's no babies to kiss today, but definitely shake hands and don't kiss any agents. It could get weird. AJ.
Making it weirder by the time.
That's what I'm here for. That's my
okay,
whole
Reagan
job.
was half naked on camera earlier. I think
Reagan!
She wasn't on screen.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Reagan.
I figured I'd tell everybody because she told me.
All right, well, I'm glad we recorded that, not on screen. Great job. All right, so let's share our gratitude or something that you learned today, and let's wrap it up and let's go get to work so we can start impacting lives. So either something you learned or something you're grateful for.
I think that the construction loans are super cool because I really thought that it was only the 20% down.
I did too until today.
Yeah, I know, I couldn't see your brain was like, I could have kept coming.
I'm like, I could buy so many things if AJ wasn't paying attention.
I'm grateful for you coming and talking to us. And you hit the nail on the head. You were talking about loans, but it's the same with us. Like every lead that comes across our phones this year, we need to turn over every rock to try to close it, you know? And so knowing all the options and being able to stop and us trade ideas and stuff, I think is what's so awesome about our team. Because if you got somebody who's having trouble find something, like Evan's got lots of different programs here that are going to help you find something. And if you have any issue or wondering how to get paid, then come to us, because that is something that, we've learned is avenues to make sure you get paid if you go to other ways of like construction and not just straightforward. So
Yeah, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the builder or the mobile home dealer has to pay the commission. Sometimes they will though. But you have to have these conversations up front. That's why your buyer consult is so important, to make sure you go ahead and get the agreement. And then when you guys start interviewing either mobile home dealers or builders, that you're talking to them about it. So and if you want to know, like, I'm freaking out, how do I talk to them about it? You call AJ. AJ definitely has some experience with that. Awesome. What other gratitude or learning did you learn?
I'm grateful for this team. Can't believe I've been here for 2 years already.
Can't believe it.
Can't believe you haven't been my job right.
People don't buy aspirin, they're shopping for something to make the pain ease, which means that they're not looking for a realtor. They're looking for somebody that can get the job done. Love that.
That was it. Like, that was the one. That's the one. That's it.
All right, we're done.
We're done. Thank you all. Have a great
Not
week.
forever, just the meeting.
Unbelievable.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you later.